Hello. Hello, hello, hello. I'll let all of you guys come on in here in this. Hi, how are you? Hello, hello. Thank you for the thumbs up. You came in the room giving thumbs up. I love it. Welcome to Mystical Monday. Come on in, everybody. Come on in. Ooh, wait, my allergies. Hoo. Well, hi, Erica. Good day to you too. Mm. Look at all of you prompt people. Everybody having a good mystical Monday so far. It's almost over now, depending on what time zone you're in. See who we're going to get in here today. Do. We will give it hello. I see the people coming. Hello, good evening to you too. Good evening, good evening. Good evening, good evening. Okay. 5. Okay. We're almost there. Is it warm where everybody is right about now? We're coming or getting close to summer, so it should be pretty warm everywhere. Hello to you too, Kamarcus. Yeah, it's warm where you are, huh, Pat? That's great. Yeah, it's getting hot real quickly. Come on, summertime. Okay, we give it 2 more seconds. You say, yeah, it's hot, huh? Warm it up and drop it tomorrow. Hello, hello. David says I could not get Sunday out of yesterday. Am I the only one? I couldn't get Sunday out? I don't get that one. Hi, Nico. Hello. It's sunny and warm in Australia. Where you are in Australia. What time is it in Australia, Nico, right now? I'm just curious. I never know who's on what time zone. I'm just curious. Oh, it's 9 a.m. Oh, okay. So we're 12 hours apart then. I'm at 9 p.m. You're 9 a.m. Well, look at you starting your morning with Mystical Monday. Well, it's probably Tuesday, right? Yeah, Mystical Tuesday for you, I guess. Oh, David says yesterday didn't seem like a Sunday. Right. Yeah, see, as we talked about last week, these time is now lapsing on us and it's not even seeming as if the hours are the hours, the days are the days. Everything's kind of coming all together. Starting the morning the best way possible. Yay! I like that, Nico. Camarcus, you're in Georgia. Okay, so you're on the same time I am. Yeah. Ha ha ha. Okay, one more minute and then we're going to get moving, people. We're going to get moving, moving, moving. Thank you to all of you who, those of you who are here tonight, and then those who watch the replay for leaving comments. We're going to have to, when I get towards the end of these sessions, these lives, I'm going to like try to continue the chats, the dialogue in the chat section, like so we can keep chatting throughout the week until the next time. So yeah, I always say do that, but I got to really emphasize that because these chats are great because we all learn from each other. So the weather here is in the 70s. So I'm not hot yet. Not hot yet, but it's feeling good. It's feeling all right. I'll take it. Look, you say 9 a.m. in Australia. Wow, like right, exactly. She's up very early watching this. Yay! All right, you guys, let's get moving. Okay, let me do my little introduction. For those of you who are new, or for those of you who will be watching this replay for the first time, my name is Dr. Dawn, and I am an intuitive guide and spiritual messenger. And what that means is I am an intermediary or go between the spiritual realm and the physical realm. I'm the one in the middle that relays the message from spirit to me to you. I use this ability either one-on-one in my sessions where I introduce people to their spiritual team of divine beings of light, which consist of angels, spirit guides, multidimensional divine beings of light, ancestors, um, any person or entity that is in your or currently on your team that wants to convey information to you to assist you on your current journey. I also relay information in this capacity to the collective on Mystical Mondays, like this right now, to the collective. And so the information I give you guys on Mystical Mondays usually comes through me to me through divine download, and then I share it with you guys based on usually where we are on the planet collectively as a group. So, for the most part, the information should resonate with most of you. If it doesn't, it's okay because if you're here at some point, you may piggyback to this information as it may be put into your energy field for remembrance for a later time because that often happens. Okay. All right. So, while you're in here, you guys don't forget, give me a thumbs up before you get up off this live tonight. And please, if you have not subscribed, don't forget to subscribe and click the notification button. I always have to remember to remind people to do that because people keep saying they keep missing me. And I always forget to tell you guys to click the notification bell. Okay. All right. So, tonight we're going to talk about the whole term multidimensional soul being. I use that term all the time. People in the spiritual community say it all the time, but I think everybody has a different point of reference for that term. So, I want to give you guys a point of reference that I use as it relates to multidimensionality so that I can clarify what I'm talking about to you and what I mean when I use that term. It's very similar to what other spiritual teachers and people who are speaking using it believe it to be. But I want to make sure you understand that because right now, where we are collectively in the shift, we're all in between dimensions right now. And we talked about this last week. You should be feeling yourself kind of piggybacking back and forth, in and out. So much so until you don't know whether you're coming, going. If it's like David said, he didn't know if it was Sunday or if it's another day, because we're all over the place um collectively on the planet as it relates to us shifting back and forth. We're all going through it. So when we talk about multidimensionality and being a soul being that's multidimensional, let's make sure you understand kind of where you are and then ask yourself, am I a multidimensional soul being? And if so, where am I? What am I feeling? And where am I headed? Okay. All right. So when you are drawn to spirituality or the spiritual community, okay? You've heard people say that we are multidimensional beings. Well, what actually does that mean? It means that we exist in different dimensions, not just in terms of location, because I think that's what most people think. Like we exist in the third dimension, the fourth dimension, the fifth dimension, sixth dimension, and beyond. That is true, but there's more to that concept than I think people understand. All right. So let's talk about one of the dimensions. We're going to go through a couple of dimensions that we currently exist in. You currently exist in. It's just a matter of if you are aware. All right. One dimension that we exist in is the physical dimension. Okay, this is me. This is what we're doing right now. We're in the physical dimension. We can touch our bodies, we can touch objects, and we can breathe in and out, right? This is all the physical dimension. We can all agree we exist in this dimension currently. According to your human knowledge, you have proof that you exist in the physical dimension because you can see it, you can touch it, you can smell it, you can feel it. You exist in the physical dimension. All got that one, right? You also exist in the emotional dimension. Do you understand that emotions are a dimension in and of itself? You say, how's that possible? Well, emotions range from low frequency, such as depression and anger. Those are low frequency emotions, to high frequency, such as love and trust. Those are higher frequencies. Okay. When you turn or tune into your emotions, you open your heart chakra. This green one right here, the portal, the heart portal. Okay. Remember, what did we learn a couple of weeks back? These chakras are your portals that connect you to dimensions beyond your current reality. Okay. So, when you are in your emotional dimension, you activate your heart chakra. When you activate your heart chakra, you begin to feel things strongly. Okay. You can't see the feelings, you can't touch the feelings, but you know they exist because you feel them. All right. So, you're moving from this physical dimension to the emotional dimension because now you can't see it, touch it, smell it, or taste it. You can only feel it. All right. So that's dimension, the next dimension you exist in. You exist in the physical, what you can see, and the emotional, what you can feel. All right. Stay with me now because most of us probably are like, okay, got that dimension, got that dimension. The next dimension you exist in is the mind dimension. You have a lower mind and you have a higher mind. All right. We usually call our higher mind our higher self. We usually call our lower mind our ego. Okay. So you exist in the mind dimension, the higher mind, the lower mind. All right. They kind of work together, right? You have your higher self, and you have your ego. Now, emotions and the mind work together. Now you say, wait a minute, we just said the emotion was another dimension. This mind thing is supposed to be a separate dimension. Nah, they work together. You want to know why? Because let's use an example. When you identify yourself as a victim, you know, we got some people who are always victims. Nobody else, they never do anything wrong. Everybody else does everything wrong. They are the victim. Your mind presents in your reality, okay? And then your emotions will reinforce this belief. So, in the example I just gave you, where the person feels as if they are always the victim, this is what their mind is telling them, then the emotion that follows is usually anger, depression, or sadness. Okay. So, you see how, like, the emotion and the mind dimension work together, not in a good way, but they work together in terms of how they complement each other. What your mind tells you in this, the mind dimension, your emotional dimension usually will follow. So that's why you're always seeing people say, think positive thoughts, speak things into existence, because the mind triggers the emotion. Okay. Now, that's three different dimensional areas you exist in. You exist in the physical, the emotional, and the mind, all within this same structure. We're still in the same structure. We haven't left planet Earth. We haven't flown off in a spaceship. We are still here, but yet we're existing in three-dimensional planes. You got it? All right. Our next dimension that you exist in is your energetic body, or your energetic body dimension. That's a dimension in and of itself. Now, we know that our energetic body is made up of our chakras. Do, 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 do. That's one back there. 7 layers, 7 portals, 7 energetic fields. Okay. So, in your energetic body dimension, this is where the connection to the portals that connect you to beyond the earth exist. Now, some people who are shifting, evolving, ascending are now operating from this dimensional space. All right. This is that fourth, fifth, kind of in the middle, fourth, fifth dimensional, in the middle place, operating from this energetic body dimension. Okay. Now keep track of these, because you need to figure out where you currently are in your dimensional awareness. Okay. All right. Next, we have our light body dimension. Okay. That is your crystalline body, your spirit body, the one that does not have flesh. That's the body that contains all the light codes, the activation codes that tell you all the intricate secrets and information to the universe. Okay. Your crystalline light body. Now, the only way you access that 100% is once you leave this physical body. You will go into your crystalline body, back into it. As long as you're in this flesh, you're kind of attached to it. Okay. You're attached to it, but you're also in your uniform. So most of us are trying to get to a place where we're operating from that crystalline body, but we can't 100% be operating from it, because we're, as long as we're in this human body, we can't be 100% crystalline. We can't. All right. All right. So we've gone through different dimensions. So when people say multidimensional beings, they're talking about you being a multidimensional being right here, right now. Not one that's traveling to a planet on a spaceship, not one that is doing astral planing, like at night when you sleep, astral traveling, going out, like leaving your physical body, spirit body, going on, not just doing that, but showing how you're wired. This body you're in right now, right here and now, is wired to the multidimensional elements. You are a multidimensional being sitting here right now on planet Earth. You don't have to travel to this dimension, that dimension, this dimension outside of the planet Earth to be multidimensional. You came here multidimensional. So I want to make sure everybody understands that and is clear on that, because if you're not careful, you can mistake multidimensionality for meaning you actually travel, like physically travel from one dimension to the next, or one planet to the next, or one star system to the next, which you can, but you don't have to physically do it. That's the whole point. You can access it from this physical being because of these different dimensional composites we just talked about that currently make you who you are. That is your physical dimension, your emotional dimension, your mind dimension, your energetic body dimension, and your light body or crystalline body dimension. All of that is within you right now. All of that is in your current human framework. You came here multidimensional, you have it. All right. Does everybody have that concept first and foremost? Questions first, because we got to make sure you understand that before I move to the oversoul, the next kind of part of this. Questions yet on, multidimensional, being a multidimensional soul being? David says, yes, I think that means he got it. Everybody's got that concept. Okay. So when I say in my sessions, okay, I just last week, I can be in a session with someone and we can access. Okay, now this is going to get a little tricky for you guys. Well, maybe not. Maybe not. I can be in a session with someone and we can access no, let me back up. Let me not do it like that. Let me see how to do this. Okay, let's do oversoul. Let's do the oversoul. So you may hear some people refer to your higher self as your oversoul. Okay, you're synonymous, same thing, oversoul or higher self. Oversoul meaning the main soul that's over the projection that currently exists now on earth, your current soul projection. So let's back up and understand. We all have a soul. Everybody has a soul, but you have a main soul that is projecting you into this reality. Okay. So your soul is, people think like physically here in this presence, in this existence, but it's not. It exists in a higher dimension. It is connected to you in this reality. Okay. Now, here's where it gets confusing for people. You are only one of many projections. Now, I touched on this before, but I'm going to take it a little bit further today. There's more of you that exists. Okay. When you look in the mirror, okay, and you see what you look like here in this existence, you are in multiple different existences where you may or may not look the same. You may or may not have the same body. You may or may not um, possess the same nationality, or be in the same, have the same speaking ability. So, like, let me give you an example. For example, for me, I know that I exist currently in multiple dimensions because I connect with myself in different dimensions, either in a sleep state or sometimes throughout the day. Case in point, last night I was sleeping. I want you guys to understand dreams are your connections, connections to yourself, connections to higher spiritual information, connections to subconscious information, connections to information that is being unlocked and revealed to you. That's what dreams are. We are programmed on earth to believe that dreams are fictitious, dreams are made up, dreams are just, they have no real meaning, they're wishes. That's not what they are. Okay. I connect with myself on many different realities and different areas or levels of experience. So I got one part of me, one projection of me. She is Asian. She's Asian. And so I connect with her very often. And the way we realized that we were the same soul is because we were having the same experience at the same time. I was experiencing some things financially as she was experiencing where she is also. And so you will think to yourself, like, okay, this is me pulling up all my issues and dreaming about it. No, 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 no. There will be sometimes, you guys, you may have an ache or a pain in this reality that is coming from another reality. I can sometimes be walking and out of the blue, I can recall this very vividly. I remember walking one time and out of the blue, my leg just gave out. And I was like, oh my God, like what happened? We'll think like, oh my God, we're a disease is setting in, or I need to go have something checked out. But sometimes it is you in another reality that is having that experience that is affecting you here. Now, this is where it gets real deep. When you're see how to do this. Okay, you can receive codes from alternate realities. I have a higher being or higher self version of me that gives me codes that I can use in this reality. Okay, so case in point, sometimes when I'm getting information that is telling me what's to come, I have a me that exists in another reality that has experienced what we're going through already here on planet Earth. So she's kind of guiding me, telling me, be on the lookout for this. This is going to happen next, because this is what happened with us. And, you can connect to you in multiple different realities and planes because you exist all over the universe. That oversoul or that higher self, I'm going to give you a picture, just a vivid picture as a point of reference, is right here at the top. It has dispersed multiple souls, pieces of itself. Let's just say pieces of itself, because it's a projecting. It's like a projector, okay? Projecting itself here, 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 here. Different planets, different everything. This one soul is projecting itself in multiple different realities. And you're having this one soul is having multiple different experiences in multiple different realities. So that's why, good. Somebody said deja vu. Exactly. That is why deja vu exists, because more likely than not, some people will tell you that deja vu occurs when there's the glitch in the matrix. Do you know where that glitch in the matrix comes from? It comes from you connecting with you in a different reality that has triggered you and made you aware of something you didn't know in this reality. And when you become aware, you trigger the matrix and it causes deja vu. Okay? Because when you're in this reality on planet Earth and you're living this reality, you are or have been over these thousands of years conditioned to believe and perform in a certain way. But because you exist on multiple different planes and realities, and you are always helping you, do understand that as I advance here on this planet, all of the other me's are advancing. We're all advancing together. Okay. And so I can always feel when there are other things happening to my soul in different other dimensions and planets. Okay. I told you guys this is going to get a little weird, but it wouldn't be Mystical Monday, right? If it wasn't real mystical and way out there. Okay. This is where we get all into all the stuff that people have not talked about over the years. People have not been tapped into over the previous years, okay? But we are now becoming aware because we are now being allowed to have the codes unlocked. The codes are being unlocked and downloaded to us. And so we are now interpreting these codes. We are now being comfortable speaking the codes to everyone else, which is why you see social media flooded with spiritual teachers, because we're getting the downloads, we're being prompted to move forward to share them, because we are now at the place where the codes are available to us for sharing to the masses. Okay. Whew, yeah, I had to get through this when I was trying to prepare it. I said, "Oh Lord, this one this might take us somewhere with this, right?" Because this is an awareness that I think people associate with the movies. Okay, people associate it with fiction. I told you guys before, a lot of things you see in the movies you think are fiction, they're actually documentaries and realities. But they're presented to you in a way where they tell lies to your vision, and you are prompted to believe it's just fairy tale fake and good fun. Okay? All right. Now, if I'm in a high vibe, all the other versions of myself in multiple realities are in a high vibration. If This means that we're all more connected to our heart portal. All right. Now, because again, time doesn't exist. It only exists on this wonderful planet Earth. This is what we do. We do 12 o'clock, 1 o'clock, 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock. Nobody else does that. I told you guys, nobody does time except here on the wonderful planet Earth. So, because time doesn't exist, you are existing simultaneously across the spectrum, across the dimensional fields. So when you're experiencing something in another field, the frequency is sent back to you sometimes. So that's why out of the blue, let me give you guys an example. It causes a collapse in the timeline. So I want to give you guys an example of that. Oh, okay. Sometimes, and this happens in my sessions, sometimes the clients come in and their spirit guides will give me information regarding their current existence in another reality. Like I had one client last week who is currently existing in ancient times in Lemuria. Okay. It's a planet we wouldn't know about here, but it's ancient. And so she was existing in Lemuria and she had access to some of the codes from Lemuria. Lemuria is like the beginning, they're from the beginning of existence, so to speak, in terms of planets. So she was getting access, well, I was getting access to give to her from herself in Lemuria. All right. She also had access to her future self. Okay. And we talked a little bit about where that self was and how this, her future self gave her advice on how to best be able to proceed on her soul mission here. Okay. Because you exist multiple places. So because this is a hard concept for us to understand, because we think timeline, linear timeline, straight, like from 12 o'clock to 12 o'clock, and that's not how it is. It's hard for us to understand, how can I be in multiple places at one time? You are being projected. You're literally coming through a projector and you're being like put into different realities. Because remember what we talked about last week, these wonderful things that you see are avatars. They are avatars. Your soul cannot be seen, so it has to create you in the form of an avatar. Um, Let me get some of these comments in because you guys are saying it a lot. Okay, so Bajorn says, sounds to me like my soul is a virtual reality player that has avatars in different reality games. That's exactly what it is. Where do you think that concept came from here? People don't realize, but most of the things like games and movies, um, project onto us are actual like information. It's actual information, but it's not presented in that way because that would trigger or awaken you to some of the codes that are buried down deep. So we look at it as like fun. Like you said, this sounds like a game, like a virtual reality game with avatar players. That we don't know any better, right? Because that's what we think. We don't realize that this is actually a depiction of what is happening. Okay. But now that we are increasing the frequency and awareness and the codes that we're getting, we're understanding, hey, wait a minute. This stuff is real. It is real. Okay. So, David says the truth is stranger than fiction. Ain't it though? That's exactly true. Exactly true. People, and that's why they set it up that way. Because as long as they made us think, it's a game or it's fiction or it's whatever, we would never be in the mindset to accept it as truth. Until now. Until now. And even now, people is still too much. It's too much for people to grasp. Okay. All right. Questions? Any questions while we're moving with the oversoul? Okay. So the reason you exist in multiple realities and dimensions is because your soul's consciousness wants to have the experience. It wants to have fun. It wants to do something. There's nothing else better to do. Okay. So when that's why we tell you guys a lot of times when you're doing your, what I do when I'm doing readings, I will tell you sometimes the association of the family members in your soul group because these members and people are existing with you in other realities. For example, my mother in this reality, in another reality, do you know I'm her babysitter? Like she's not my mother. I work for her. And so I watch her children. And so when I was interacting with her in another dimension, I was sitting, this was shortly after she died. I was sitting there in shock because I was like, now do I call her mom? Or what do I say? Like what? And she was talking to me just like I was the babysitter, let me know how to take care of these kids and what time she would be back. And I was just like, okay, all right. And so yeah, so these players that you have in your life here are players with you in other dimensions. Do you understand that? You're connected to these people across multiple different tiers. Okay, so Derek says, so each version is doing something different. As in, right now, I'm here with you and the gathering, and in another dimension, I could be having breakfast. Absolutely. Now, here's the thing, Derek. Usually, okay, not the specifics like sitting here watching, the live and eating breakfast, but in the big picture, you kind of all are doing the same thing. Let me tell you why. In another reality, like in this reality, I am an intuitive guide and spiritual messenger. I told you guys over and over and over, I know that spirit is trying to lead me to help these star children, these star seeds that are these rainbow children that are coming in. I'm supposed to assist them in their evolution and awareness of their abilities, their purpose, and help them connect, to their inner self. I know that. I know that's what I'm gearing up for. Now, in another dimensional reality, I am still working with kids. I have what is like an orphanage. I house children who are like have been neglected, who have been, left by their parents. I operate something like that. So you see how it's two different things, but it's similar. I'm still doing the same thing, like assisting these kids, but in different ways, in different realities. So, what you're doing overall right now is probably similar to what you're doing in the other dimensions, just not exactly, if that makes sense. So, Derek says, oh, so there's a version of you there with us as well. Absolutely. Derek, in that reality, like in this reality, you are part of the collective. Let's just say you're one of my followers or subscribers on YouTube, since I don't know you personally. But in another life, you could be my neighbor. You could be someone who helps me get the kids or find the children at the orphanage. Or you could be, you're connected to me in some way. Some way we are connected. Even if we saw each other at the store, Derek, and we said, hey, at some point, and we just had a conversation, we have a connection some way, somehow. But specifically, your family members are soul tied to you. That means they will show up in every one of your realities, but in different roles. I just told you my mother was now my employer in another reality. Okay. In another reality, my mother was my sister. Like, so I can find my mother in the different realities because I set the intention and asked my team to show me and connect me with my mother after she died, because I was going through this sense of loss and wanted to exactly know where she was and how she was doing. Okay. And so beyond the connection she remains with me in this life, because she still checks in on me every now and then in this dimension, I was shown how we are connected in multiple dimensions. So that's why when I tell you guys, when people come to me after people pass away and they're so distraught, I say, I promise you, you're going to see them again. I can guarantee you're going to see them again. So hold on, because you will reconnect. When you leave this life, and you are transitioning to the afterlife, you will meet them in the capacity that they were in this experience. You will do that first. You must do that before you move on to have your experience in another, or to move on to have another experience. And you'll meet up with them again in another type of way. Okay. So, she says, is that why you may be your mother's babysitter? Exactly. Exactly. Absolutely. And so you got to look at the connections you have with the people in this life, because it's very close to, or maybe comparable to, what you're doing with them in another life. That's why I tell you guys sometimes people here right now in your reality don't like you, and you haven't done anything to them. There's nothing you can find that you've done, but they just don't like you. That's because in another reality, you two probably have gone to blows, okay? And the soul tie that you have right here is still there. That it triggers that you two don't get along. And so that's why a lot of times you'll have people that just don't like you, and for no reason. And you have to be aware of this whole big picture so you know how to respond accordingly and not give into it or allow it to pull you in a direction you don't need to go in, because that soul tie could be from a whole nother experience. Kamarcus says, is it true that if people, aka humanity, think a certain way, it will happen? For example, COVID. Seems like people have decided to ditch COVID and go back to moving like it was before it started. Okay. All right, Kamarcus, let's get into that. We've touched on that before, but let me explain that to you. So, everything down here is energy. You are energy here, your energy everywhere you go, in every projection, every avatar, every experience, your energy, 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 energy. And so, how we respond collectively on this planet, because remember, we're on a grid, we're in a quantum field, we're on a game board. If you want to put it in context, this is like a monopoly board we're on, okay? And we're all players on the board. So if all the players on the board, start to express fear in something, or anger in something, or uneasiness with something, all of the players on the board, we're going to change the board The board is going to respond to us, all of the players on it, because the board is a field that is sensitive to us and our energy. So you asked if humanity um, if they think a certain way, will things happen? Absolutely. Because remember what we said earlier in tonight, you have your emotional dimension and you have your mind dimension, which work together. So usually when your mind tells you something, your emotion kicks in. And in the example of COVID, fear kicked in. And so the whole group of players collectively on the planet made this whole quantum field, this game board, change and respond accordingly. So we respond, the quantum field, the planet responds to our energy. So now you say people are moving and going like it was before it started, right? Because people don't care, people aren't afraid, people are frustrated, people say forget it. And so now that energy is projecting outward onto the game board. And so now the game board will change accordingly. Kamarcus says he watched the new movie Doctor Strange, which shows everything I am talking about tonight. Okay, I'm gonna have to watch it, Kamarcus. Because that's the other thing we talked about. Remember, I told you guys when this new dimension, this shift started, watch the movies that start coming out because there are mindful writers, creators, and producers that are making movies now for the collective, those of you who are awake, to see what is actually happening. And for you to make that analogy and comparison, Kamarcus, shows you that collectively they are trying to influence you in a good way, in kind of a good way, to make you aware of what is actually happening collectively on the planet. This is one thing that we were given insight into prior to it happening, that during the shift, you would start to see more movies that were more consciously aware. Kirby says, I appreciate you taking time to share such great information with us. You know what, Kirby? I'm on assignment. I got to live my purpose. Like, look, if I don't do it right here, then the other me's and the other realities, they're going to feel my wrath because I'm not doing what I'm supposed to be doing here. So you are more than welcome. You are more than welcome. But once you become aware of your purpose and your assignment, you get into it and you move into it and you understand that it's so much bigger than you. So much bigger than you. So much bigger than you see and feel in this current reality. There's a movie called Free Guy, I guess. Nico says Free Guy blew her mind. Gotta watch that one too. Y'all giving me all the movies to watch. Okay, I'll do that one too. I guess it looks like Marvel. Are these Marvel movies? Somebody says a Marvel series. Loki as well. Okay, y'all help, y'all educate me on some of the movies that are out. Good. So be mindful and a good, and again, that's a word you're going to see a lot of too now. Mindfulness. That's the buzzword. Being in a place of mindfulness means living your life now from a place of awareness that what you have been conditioned to believe and to realize and see is not what it is. We're waking up now. We are waking up beyond what we have been programmed. And I mean that literally programmed, as in like computer programming. Because remember, we're avatars. We're avatars playing a game. And for all intents and purposes, we're not, well, we're kind of, well, we're not computer, we're on a computer board, kind of, so to speak. But since we're energy, yeah, we're being easy, we're being manipulated all the time. So the more aware you are of all of this that's happening, the more you can see through it and beyond it, and you're able to kind of navigate on this planet. David says decoding the matrix. Absolutely. And you'll know, you can tell it's being decoded now. You can tell we're kind of crashing it a little bit because everything is changing. I talked to you guys last week about the programming, and I said, hey, you guys think that the television or the television will ever have like more spiritual programming on it? And then somebody said, well, no, that's what they got YouTube for. Like, because you can go over here and watch it, you know? And you're absolutely right. We won't be surprised if the television and like major networks, all that whole concept becomes obsolete, and it becomes more about, don't think that this YouTube, listen to what it's called, YouTube. Don't think that anything that's not put on this game board is not put here without reason and purpose to assist in playing the game. How many people look at this experience as playing a game or realize that you're in something that goes far beyond just you living this reality? Because once you realize that, I'm telling you, it changes the entire way you live your life, the entire way you see people, the entire way you interact with people. It determines who you have in your life, who you don't have in your life, and it determines which direction you go. All right, David says, me. Okay, questions. I almost went the whole time without drinking something. Y'all know I got to get some water. So most of you who follow me on social media, you guys know I've been posting my little weight loss journey, right? Let me tell you about that. So the me that exists in a higher dimension, um, like she is the best. Like every time I see her, she comes to me on this beach. She's always wearing all white. She's like, to me, her body is like perfect. She's the perfect size. Her skin is glowing. Like she's all that, right? So I talked to her a couple of weeks ago and I said, girl, now I'm out here, I'm jogging, trying to do these like weights. I done cut back, changed my diet. I'm, doing all it. I said, what is really going on? Like, what's happening where you are? Because did you have this issue or, was this part of your experience? And so, you know what she said? She said, Dawn, remember, you're at a lower density than I am, where I am. Like the density you guys are at, like I couldn't survive at that density. And part of what contributes to you guys' lower density is like what you eat, the energy of the planet, like so forth and so on. So she goes, no, I've never experienced like weight, like what you are experiencing. But she says, you haven't tapped in to the code that will help you release the weight. Now, listen to this. She says where she is, like they don't do food. Like, of course, I told you guys other dimensions don't have food. Like, I chose to come to this experience, like my avatar or my soul projection came here for all this good earth experience, like the food, material experience, like all that stuff. Like, I came to get all that, like, get all that in. And so she said, now that you're awakened and you realize that you came here to get all of that, she goes, well, have fun, do it. I said, but girl, I'm not liking how I feel while I'm doing it. And she said, well, then unlock the code and get to your true self. She says, your true self does not need to eat 3 meals a day, does not need as much intake as you guys are. Like, we're programmed, right? From time we're born to time we die, you gotta eat 3 meals a day, right? Breakfast, lunch, dinner. We gotta eat 1,200 calories. Like, that's like a balanced diet. Like, that's what we're taught, right? No. So she said, continue to do what you're doing because I intermittent fast. Okay. Fasting is going to be the key. You guys are probably seeing that a lot now. There's intermittent fasting everywhere because now that code has been unlocked on the planet, that our bodies have never needed all of the nutrition that all of the food and liquids that we've been giving it. So now the programming is moving towards intermittent fasting because that code has been released that has made us aware that our bodies never needed all of that. So as we start intermittent fasting, as we start literally eating less, the obesity, we're getting ready to go down now because everybody's starting to find some way to fast, even if it's, 8 hours, 10 hours, 16 hours, a whole day, 2 days. Everybody's doing it now. So much so, David says he eats once a day. Exactly. We're all going to move towards that because now the code is unleashed and the energy is coming down that is supporting this code that is making us not want to eat as much, which is making us aware of our natural state of being, which is we don't have to have all of that to survive. And so, yeah, she told me this. I've been intermittent fasting in the midst of my exercising and I'm dropping the weight. So when I dropped 10 pounds and I posted it last week, everybody's like, how did you do it that quick? Like, what you doing? You starving yourself? You did? Nope, not doing that. I am actually on a 16-8 schedule, meaning I'm eat for 8 hours, off for 16. And in the 8 hours, I may eat one and a half times, like that's it. But you're now in the frequency, you guys, that will support you being able to handle these less meals with less cravings. You just got to tap into it. And when I say tap into it, set the intention. Set the intention by saying, I'm getting ready to find what is my best way of being as it relates to weight, maintaining my weight, or feeling and being healthy. You will get all the information sent to you. Your team will send it to you via email, via commercial on television, via something you read, something you overhear, something. You're going to get all the guidance you need. Okay. Bajorn says, oh, really? And here I thought I wasn't eating enough, even though I felt fine not eating. Well, Bajorn, if you are not having any health issues, okay, and you are not having the cravings or the hunger, then what's wrong with it? We think that we're not eating enough because we're so used to eating much more. Okay. Pat says 3 square meals is weight gain. Yeah, in this frequency, it really is now, unless those square meals are very light meals, simple, like light meals. David said the Matrix set that emotion. Absolutely. That was part of the programming. Part of the programming. And so now the programming is unlocked. So I say that to say, when you guys see all of the advertisements now about fasting, know where it's coming from. That code is now released onto the planet through the quantum field, through the game board. Okay, I got to keep it in context so you guys understand. The game board now has that rule added on there. So now you're going to see it spreading collectively to the masses about fasting, intermittent fasting. You're going to see it everywhere. So remember, the game changes based on the codes. The light codes are coming through now. The light codes are the ones that are for our advancement, for our highest good, to move us towards ascension. We weren't getting them before. We weren't able to go through the spiritual veil to get them, understand them, interpret them, utilize them. Now they're coming through and we're responding to them and getting them. Okay. So we're changing the monopoly board, the game board. That's the quantum field, the monopoly board. Okay. All right. Questions? Whoo, y'all, this was, I'm glad I could explain this one. I was worried about this one. I hope it's clear for you guys because these are some concepts that for some people it's hard to grasp and to believe and to hold on to because you've got to literally reprogram your whole way of being and thinking. And you have to get into a place of discernment. You have to see if this resonates with you. It doesn't have to, doesn't have to. Doesn't mean that, like I always tell you guys, it's not right or wrong information. It's level of awareness information. Maybe this is not aware for some people aren't aware of this because it has not come into their experience yet. So it's okay. It's okay. But hopefully, if you're here, it will resonate with you because I always have to believe that this will attract. Remember, we're energy, so it's attracting you to it. These lives are attracting you to them. Oh, she says, thanks for the great information. You're so welcome. So welcome. Um, any more questions? Gosh, you guys, it's been an hour, baby. This hour goes by fast, doesn't it? Okay. I want you guys to ask yourself. Oh, she says it resonates completely. Excellent. I want you guys to ask yourself something because last time I had you guys do a little exercise where we did a little brief meditation, a little connection to our higher self. And everybody loved that. Everybody seemed to think that was really good. I want you guys now, we're going to continue this in the chat. Okay. Because I want you guys to do something for me. I want you to literally ask yourself, don't do it now. I want you, when you get off of this live, I want you to ask yourself two questions. I want you to ask your higher self, who am I? Okay, I want you to ask that. And then the other question I want you to ask is there anything I can do to heal my body? Ask your higher self that. I want you to sit with that. When you ask those questions, the first response that comes to your mind, write it down in the chat. Let us know what comes. First one is, who am I? The second one is there anything I can do to heal my body? Ask those two questions, write down whatever that response is to both of those questions and give it to us in the chat. I want to see, because you guys, you're connecting to your higher self more than you ever have now. And you're not often following it because you're still not often aware of the communication and response that it's giving back to you. All right. Bajorn says, what leads to a new change on the game board? Is it a coincidence or systematically letting out so that it's not too much at once? What changes the game board is us, is as we evolve, which is what we're doing now, as the energy changes in the collective. We're all energy, we're all frequency, we're all this getting activated one by one by one by one by one. As we become activated, as we become aware, as we start to collectively make changes, it changes the game board. That's what changes the game board. Okay. Not coincidences, not coincidences, but if you want to say systematically, that's, we could use that word. Systematically, we're all kind of contributing energy to it, and then it does. Okay, you say you understand. Good, great. Patricia says, repeat the questions. First question is, ask your higher self, who am I? Next question I want you to ask is there anything I can do to heal my body? Ask yourself that, those two questions. And then let me know in the chat what your higher self says. Don't do it now because your energy is infused with all of us, the collective. You guys don't realize it, but you're becoming intuitive and telepathic. You will pick up on other people's energy that are on this live. You just don't realize it. So that's why I want you to sit with yourself. We may do that exercise another time. Let you guys tap into each other's energy on this live. That'll be fun because some of you don't realize how a lot of the thoughts you're having right now, they're not always yours. There's sometimes people on this live are thinking it and their energy is coming through. Because remember, energy is like what? Like light, like electricity, like everything. It comes on through. It travels. Okay. You guys have been wonderful tonight. This has been a good Mystical Monday. We got through a lot of information. Those of you who have been following me since Facebook, have we not come a long way? We have come a long way in terms of evolving and the information that we're presenting. We started one place, we're at a whole nother place. You can just tell if you've been following from the beginning that collectively we're changing and evolving because this information is getting real, isn't it? Real. And so I want you all to just stay with me. Stay with me. And as you become comfortable with yourselves, because that's the thing, not me, but yourselves, as you become comfortable, share this information, not just share my videos, but start sharing some of this information with people. You'd be surprised of the people who are going through these shifts and experiences that just don't have anybody to talk to. And you're the one to be the liaison. You're not getting this information for nothing. It's for your evolution, but it's also for you to help in this shift on this planet. Okay. All right. So if you enjoyed tonight's live, please give me a thumbs up. Please follow me or subscribe. I'm sorry, subscribe if you have not subscribed. Click your notification bell so you know when I'm putting up another video or when I'm live. And if you have not followed me on Instagram, get over there to Discovering Your Inner Light and follow me, as well as check out my website, www.discoveringyourinnerlight.com. I am booking one-on-one coaching sessions right now. You guys, if you want it, like, just be coming soon, because June is going to be kind of crazy. And so I'm already the first week of June not available. So it's going to get kind of weird. So I just want to give you a heads up. So I look forward to seeing you guys next Monday, 9 o'clock p.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on YouTube at Discovering Your Inner Light. And if that's it, I will see you later. Everybody have a good rest of the night. Until next time, thank you. All right. Bye-bye.